minus 10 minutes. Minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
I'm not sure why, but of late, I feel like we've had to open the show with disclaimers, and most days, it's really good news. But here's the disclaimer today, okay? I feel like it's going to get spicy. And I'll take the blame right now. It's all my fault because nobody wants to do that in life. And I'll say it, it's going to be because of me. And you're all saying, Rod, what in the cotton-picking world are you talking about? Well, let me first say, coming up in hour 2, Jorgen Hughes will be with us. My dear friend, I love him. I don't mind saying I love him. He was, when he retired, the longest-serving member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, former long snapper with the St. Louis Rams of the National Football League. Jorgen Hughes will be with us in hour 2. He's actually thanking us for coming on, if you can believe. Kevin the Medium is here. Woo, 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 woo. How are you doing, Kevin?
Woo, woo.
You look
I'm doing
good. What have
good.
you done?
How could I not be good? As you can see behind me, I'm not at home. I'm up at the park, as we call it, Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park in Saskatchewan, where we have our trailer, and we're going to be up here for the rest of the summer, having some fun, just relaxing and chilling, which is really cool.
Well, it looks real good. I think you got the Elon Musk Starlink going, a very strong signal. So listen, here's the thing. Kev called me. Huh? You call it what?
We call him Elon for short.
Yeah, Elon Vision. Right. Okay. So listen, here's the disclaimer. Okay. Kev called me this morning and he said, what are we talking about? And I said, well, you're in luck. Mostly CFL because that's your jam. And that's what we'll be doing for it's game day. Game day. Green is the color. Here in the rectangle, it's a big deal. We only get 10 of these a year. Rider home game days. It's a big deal. But I said to Kev, here's where the disclaimer comes in. I do want to talk a little bit about Caitlin Clark because for the first time ever, I sat down and watched the WNBA game last night, like a significant portion of the game. And don't cancel me out of the gate already because I talked to Moose this morning and he's like he's never sat down and watched an entire WNBA game for or even a length of time. It's the first time I did. I didn't have it on my TV for 10 seconds. And this girl comes over after the play and punches her in the gut like that. And I'm like, what the hell? Now, she did get a T, but she was getting all game long. She's getting beat up. I'm like, what is this? I'd heard about all the Caitlin Clark stuff, but I actually saw it. And I'll get into more of this after the break because I know people came here to talk football and stuff. But I said, Kev, you might want to just investigate this because I want to talk. All of a sudden, you jump head first down the rabbit hole and you're in fights with guys. This is like right on our Facebook page. I put it on our Facebook page, and a holy war has been spawned there because of the WNBA. Go.
I can sit back and chuckle at a lot of comments on Facebook. And I do. I used to be the guy that commented on everything back in my political days. I was a shit disturber extraordinaire. But I saw a comment. I'm not going to mention the guy's name. But I saw a comment basically saying that because a lot of the ladies in the WNBA might happen to be, what did he say? Non-straight. Non-straight. Yeah. Now, I personally have a ton of non-straight female friends, and it triggered me, Rod. I'm not lying. It triggered me, and I was like, what the does that have to do with anything we're talking about? I don't care if you're black, purple, green, straight, non-straight. That had nothing to do with what you talked about. And then this gentleman, he had to throw this in there like it was, well, they're non-straight, so of course they're going to be tough and punching each other and trying to what is that? That's just
right. So let me right. And by the way, I mean I'm not going to name him either because it's something that what happened over on our Facebook page. But this is a former CFL player and coach who I know. I mean, I know him well enough that he had my number. Like he called me last night. He was going off about this and he thought it was a racial thing. I'm like, whoa. I don't see color. I talked about one girl punching another. So let's get this right out of the gate. If you're going to accuse me of being a racist, you'll be the first. And I've worked in pro football since 1991. I'm not racist. But this whole idea of, I'll just say this, because all our viewers seem to be reasonably following the WNBA. And I got a lot of friends in the States that are saying it would help you out a lot if you got into this league. So my point on all of this, and trust me, everybody, we'll be talking football after this show. That is a guarantee. But there's a lot of people coming at me going, you don't understand. It's women's basketball. All of what Kevin's saying, this is the culture. This is how it goes. And I'm like, well, then I'm not really that interested, okay? Because that guy you're talking about said, this isn't hockey. You touch Wayne Gretzky, you're dead. From his teammates, from the league office, from everybody. And in the NFL, CFL, we protect the quarterbacks. The stars are paying the freight. We're not dumb. We know that. We protect these people. How are you not protecting her? Is the point.
What CFL game was it last? It was last week where a guy lightly slapped a girl, just lightly slapped a guy in the helmet, and he was kicked. Makes no sense to me.
Kicked out of the game. Yeah, well, and I said to that guy last night, I said in football, you throw a punch in football, you're definitely getting a 15-yard penalty. If you connect, you're kicked out of the game. So don't come at me with this is how it goes in the WNBA. You don't understand, because you know what? We got a lot of options out there, which is what I'm going to get to a little later on in the Quick Six Show topics. So, like, the Blue Jays are awful. They've quit. For whatever reason, they've quit. And I'm like, well, I'm not watching you. This is for the viewers. No, not the viewers. For the teams and the leagues, if they don't know already, if you're not winning, click. Because I'm not a hardcore MLB guy. I'm not a hardcore Blue Jay guy. And that's why a lot of people in this country of Canada are watching the Blue Jays every game, because they went to Game 7 of the World Series. If you guys aren't winning now, I'll go watch something else. And a message to the WNBA. That's what do I say here on this show? All opinions are welcomed. They're not necessarily agreed with, but we're not sitting here yelling at each other and screaming on top of each other. That's what makes this show great. But if you're going to come at me and say, you don't know the WNBA, stay out, guess what? I'll stay out. And I'll stay in my normal leagues, because I'm very happy there.
Pretty simple. I mean, it's obviously I didn't watch the game, thus our conversation this morning, but you can't go around punching. And I don't know, someone said it was basketball was a contact sport. It's one sport I never played. And I'm like, is it a contact sport? I thought you weren't allowed to contact. It was 8-foot people putting in a basket of 7 feet. Like, it's not a contact sport. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be canceled because I'm saying it, but I don't watch it. I don't know.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to expand my horizons. And what settled it, Khalil Carter is the player, by the way. You can see it. I'll just say it. He de-escalated on the whole thing, too, because Khalil, whoa. It's the first game I ever saw. He's like, Angel Reese puts up with it, too. Okay, it's not a race thing, but it's like my first taste of the WNBA was not good. That's kind of what I'm getting at, okay? And maybe they don't care, but we have a pretty influential show here. Yeah, we'll be right back on the RP Show.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, time to talk some ball, and this is the warm-up brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions. They're throwing that cruise for the Stars, the ultimate fan cruise for the Canadian Football League. Kev's going to be on it. Join Adam Bighill, CFL greats, Willie Jefferson, Jake Serezna, and Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. From the port of Fort Lauderdale, it departs February 20th. Prices from $18.99, cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. We'll go down that WNBA road a little later on because I do want to get to the CFL. And that's what it is, I guess. Point two. Week 8 opens in the football capital tonight. The Edmonton Elcamos at the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Kev, I have invoked my right to change my pick. Scruffy talked me out of it. I had the Riders pick to win, but he talked me out of it. And he's mad that I changed my pick. I said, it's your rule.
You can't just change your pick.
Yes, you can. On this show, you can. And I am. Because I think the Riders have been to hell and back this week. Which, by the way, CBC called me yesterday. I still don't really, you and I haven't talked about this. And I said, why are you calling me? And they said, we'd like to talk to you about how the Rough Riders have handled this situation with Jaden Dalkey. I'm like, I suppose. So that'll be coming out at CBC later today, I guess. I don't think they're going to be in any mental state to win a football game tonight, Kev. What did you do with your picks?
It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game to watch. How the Riders handled it, just like everybody else. I mean, when you first heard of it, your heart went out to the player, and it was like, oh my gosh, the Hughes Sports Podcast posted something, and it was heartbreaking to hear. And then as the news came out and what had happened, and everybody was backtracking, I'll say, for lack of a better word. I don't know if that's the right word. There was a lot of commentators, a lot of sports people that were posting videos and et cetera, et cetera. It kind of bugged me a little bit, just for the fact, if the shoe was on the other foot, if it was the young East Indian fella that was driving down the wrong side of the road, boy, would we be having a different discussion today. And it would have been ugly. I guarantee you it would have been real ugly. I've seen it on social media. So have you. You lived through it. And it's sad. The whole situation is two young people aren't here anymore. because of a mistake. Are we going to crucify anybody? Heck no, not on my show, not on your show. We don't know what happened. We absolutely have no clue. We weren't in the shoes. We didn't live the life. So it's sad. And I agree with you. I think the riders, I don't know how they can go into this game without having that emotional burden. And as you know, any sports is a mental game. It's a big part of it is a mental game, and it's going to be distraction. So I'm taking Edmonton as well. Cody Fajardo. What more do we need to say? I don't even want to say it. Yes. I was going to say it, and I went,
Not today. 67% shot. 67% of voters on our Instagram page are saying the Riders will win tonight. That's what I thought too. All things being equal going into the week, but all things aren't equal. And we just backtracked on all of that. But for those that don't know, I don't think if you're watching the show, you know what Kevin's talking about. But player Jaden Dulkey was in a fatal car crash Saturday night that killed the driver of the other car and himself. And alcohol and cannabis were found in his vehicle. But we're sitting here waiting to hear if there was alcohol and cannabis in his system. We don't know. Everybody wants to jump to judgment on that, but we don't know. So that's a whole other story altogether. But to be honest with you, Kev, I was talking to you in Florida today, Lisa, our weekly update, and she's like most Americans, sorry to say, absolutely no idea what the Saskatchewan Roughriders are or what Lumsden is, or she had no idea. And I said, well, the player did this and this happened and these people died, and she's like, what? Yeah. Like, it's very hard. I mean, this stuff does happen all the time, but not involving a pro football player. Right? And this is, frankly, was what I said to CBC. Well, the lady from CBC, which, by the way, she was really nice, the reporter, she goes, what does this say about football culture and the Rough Riders? I said, nothing. I said, if Jaden Dulkey works at Walmart, we're not having this conversation. That kind of stuff happens regularly, just not in the public realm. So, no, don't say this is a football problem. And she was very good about that, And then she goes, how do you feel about the Rough Rider, how the way they've handled it? And I said, why do you ask? And she said, well, they're being criticized for it. And I said, they'd have been criticized no matter what they did. Were they too soon? Probably. They'd have been criticized if they didn't make a statement. And then they find out that their player caused the crash. Oh, no, now they're backtracking. Like, could it have been handled better? Yeah. However, I don't know that I would have done it any differently, so I wasn't going to throw shade at them. So I'm interested to see how that article comes out.
We all jumped early. Of course we did. We're human. We heard a young man passed away. That was all we heard. He was in a fatal car crash and he passed away. That's all we heard. We acted on that. You know what it reminds me of? As you know, I am and have been a wrestling fan for many, many years. And it reminds me of Chris Benoit when the news first broke that he passed away.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison. Yeah.
And Raw was doing a tribute show to Chris Benoit. They were glorifying him. And in the middle of that show, it came out what really happened. And they had to switch to something different because they realized
he killed his wife and kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it reminds me, not on the same level, but it reminds me of that scenario where you want to believe the best. You want to believe that it was an accident. But as the stories come out, you realize, oh crap, it isn't. Still sucks. There's 2 people not living. There's 2 families grieving horribly. And not only grieving horribly,
now
they have this giant spotlight. And everybody on social media needs to take a deep breath. And remember, there's humans behind this. And they won't, unfortunately.
Kev,
because
I'll pause you there. You know this as well as I do. That ain't ever going to happen. So to quote my mom, God bless her soul, you're going to tell other people how to act, especially in today's day and age? You might as well go pee into the wind because it's not going to go anywhere, and half of it's going to come back on you. Telling people to smarten up on social media, I can't think of anything less worthwhile to spend my time on than that. They're not going to smarten up. Now, from the audience, Yeah, go ahead.
You know
go
what we
ahead.
can do before you go there, Rod? Is we can not respond to them on social media. We can just
And I don't.
bypass them and scroll by, right? And I encourage others who are like us to do the same because they'll go away. They will. They like the attention. That's all it is.
Hey, 100%, man. Thank you. You want to write that down? You want to make a meme out of that? You want to? Because that is a fact.
Sure.
Don't engage. Don't engage. Don't engage. Don't engage. This is episode number 1783, season 8 of the RP show, and it's never changed. Airing at 10 a.m. SAS time or 10 a.m. Mountain every single day. It's a coffee discussion on like there's just imagine us all sitting around having coffee together discussing these things. That's what I've always wanted it to be, and that's what it will always be as long as we're on the air. I.e. from the audience. Andrew in North Battleford writes, he says, tough game tonight for Saskatchewan for sure, but I think the Riders rally around each other, pull together, and get a win. That's very possible. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's a very good chance that it could happen. Argo Bill writes that he says, good morning, crew. Argo Bill will be in my season ticket seat tonight wearing my best Rider gear. He cheers for the Riders, except for when they play Tirana. I'm not done yet on the Caitlin Clark thing, and I kind of feel like taking some of the woke people to task or whatever you want to say over this, because Utah Darren writes in and he says, what is going on in the WNBA is not acceptable when it comes to Caitlin Clark. In the first 3 minutes of the game last night, she was clearly the best player on the floor and in the league, right? Which I got it in my sports update, and I'll just say it again. They're beating the crap out of her. It's not a racial thing, but what I want to say is, you people, at the risk of sounding like Don Cherry, that is simply a coincidence that I did, but you want to tell us how to act and fair play and all this and women's sports, and that's cool, because I'll be honest with you. I tuned in the WNBA. I didn't hate it. I had 2 daughters that played basketball. I found it quite entertaining as a game, but what was going on against Caitlin Clark, what's being allowed to happen to Caitlin Clark is incredibly wrong. And it's so distasteful. What message is this sending to kids? How can your sponsors say this is okay? And you guys want to point the finger at us? And listen, this is a rabbit hole. And in that, why aren't you talking WNBA? Why aren't you talking women's sports? Why? Maybe you get your shit together, and then I will. Because what I saw last night was disgusting. And a message, by the way, to the CFL and any other leagues that are crying for attention. Every minute we sit talking on this show about the WNBA is a minute that we're not talking about you. So what are you doing to get into the public sphere, into the national conversation? Anyways, I feel like you want to say something. Sorry, I went off there.
It's comparison because we're a hockey nation. Can you imagine if that kind of stuff happened to McDavid? Somebody came up and every game they were hacking and slashing and cross-checking him in the face. It just wouldn't be allowed. There would be, like, literally the league would come down and say, excuse me, you can't do that anymore. We're going to start suspending people. It's simple. She is the star. You're going to protect your stars.
No. You should, but they don't. Jeff the Stamps fans joined this lady, says what happened. Just simply, within 10 seconds of me tuning in a WNBA game for the first time ever, the play ends, the whistle blows, and the opposition player turns and punches her right in the stomach. And she went like this, and yeah, there was a technical foul. It was called. But in other sports, you're getting kicked out. And the longer I watched the game, this continued to go on from all the players, or a lot of the players on the floor. And I'm like, how are you allowing that? I'm tuned in for Caitlin Clark. If she gets hurt and leaves, I'm not watching anymore. How dumb are you? What do you not understand at the league level that you need to protect your stars? I don't get it. Scott in Vancouver writes that he says, I barely paid attention to the WNBA pre-COVID. I still don't, but sometimes put it on for various reasons. Last night I had the Dallas-Portland game on. I see Clark is on the edge of being suspended. I don't know, maybe. I mean, it was a doubleheader last night. I learned a lot of it, and I'm watching the sponsors. But what I'm saying is it was so patently distasteful what I saw, I'm not sure I'll watch again. And I'm saying again, I get a lot of heat as a guy that's on television in a lot of places. Why aren't you talking more women's sports? Why aren't you talking more WNBA? But that very same Lisa, she's like, why don't you get Sophie Cunningham on your show? I'm like, because they're the biggest stars outside the NFL on the continent right now. Largely, they're not that easy to get.
Yeah.
But my point is, I just don't understand how this is being. Nobody has a problem with them protecting Gretzky or McDavid or Crosby or Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. Nobody ever had. We got it. Why is there different rules for them? Because they're selling the tickets. There's one of them and 10,000 of you.
They put butts in the seats, and that's what they need. So protect her. It's simple. She's the biggest star. You got to protect her.
Ken in Mississauga writes, and he says, guys, is the WNBA profitable? Dude, it has to be, because they're filling arenas and they're shoving it in front of your face everywhere. It's got to be profitable. I mean, I don't know, but just look. And that's why I topic for another time. You spent so long in Calgary. What's happened there with the Stampeders? Like, I don't get it. There's this Canada's, it's not as bad in America. In Canada, it's terrible. What I said yesterday, I go to various sports sites in Canada every day. WNBA is leading it off. TSN, Sportsnet, CBC. There's a narrative to push the league. And I'm sitting there going, what did the CFL ever do to fall off the table? I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still trying to I get women's sports are cool. I support them. But what I saw last night was gross. We'll be right back. 902-518-3033, because we'll go through the rest of the games. Kevin and I both picked Edmonton to win tonight. But we got other games too. And Patrick Kane signed with Chicago today. We'll be right back.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Wreck Loss teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts. One stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at saskpix.ca.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Okay, welcome back. Let's get to the comments. We have a long way to go, a short time to get here. 902-518-3033. Vintage Sasko writes in. He says, hi, Rowdy Roddy and the iconic Full House Hughes. When is the Hughes Saskatchewan ceremony, Citizenship Saskatchewan ceremony taking place? Can I buy a ticket? Kevin has moved to the 306, the Wheat Province. Are we having a ceremony to welcome you, Kev? What?
We're never having a ceremony to welcome me. It's when I wear my orange, they get kind of angry. So I don't think they're ever going to accept me as a citizen.
Orange is not a popular color here. That has nothing to do with football. Wayne in BC writes in. He says, this is a big game for both the Riders and the Elcamos. It's a tough game for the Riders, but I think they can overcome it. Go, Riders, go. I'll be calling baseball tonight, by the way. I won't even be watching, so I'll be interested to see how that goes. Scott in Vancouver says, is that Moose doing the voiceover for the Mad Greek Eatery? Yes, he is. Darren in Melfort writes in. He says, God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy. Billy Currington, one of my favorite songs. Don't forget that. Vancouver Eric writes in. He says, Toronto over BC this weekend, hopefully. Okay, let's get back on point. We both picked Edmonton to win tonight. I don't have green goggles, folks. You need to understand that. They're gone. They're smashed. They're broken. They're gone. They're lying in the grid road. Smashed. Calgary at Winnipeg tonight, Kev. Who wins? I got Calgary. Scruffy said Winnipeg. Who do you got? Break the tie.
I'm going to go with Winnipeg as well. I was originally going Calgary, but I'm going to switch it and go to Winnipeg.
The Smurf Mafia rides again. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I can't believe I'm actually freaking picking the blue people. What's wrong with me, Rod?
That we don't have time to answer that question and unravel that. The Brayley Bowl. Can we still call it the Brayley Bowl? Toronto at BC.
I always call it that.
You're good.
Just always.
Wait till you read my book. I'll tell a few stories. When we used to go to Vancouver and stay on the road there with the Riders, David Brayley never lived in Vancouver. He was the owner of the BC Lions, so he was always staying in the same hotel as us, the Hyatt. And one time, our chairman of the team, his name was Graham Barker, and he knew Brayley from the league meetings and stuff. And I guess they were talking, and Brayley said to him one time, I have $75 million in my checking account. Graham was like, what do we say to that? Okay. Congratulations. The Brayley Bowl. So the point is, David Brayley used to own both teams. CFL fans know this, and new fans are like, it doesn't sound that weird. It was weird. CFL can be weird at times. I'm sorry. I don't even know the name of the BC quarterback. I feel like he's not even a household name in his own house, and for that reason, I'm taking Toronto. But I'm guessing you've picked BC, Kev. You bastion of nonpartisan sports coverage.
I so don't want to take BC, but last time I didn't take BC, what did they do? They turned around and won. I'm going to take BC. I think his name is Bryce, and I think Mr. Bryce will come back. I think having the whole week of being able to put the offense around him rather than around Rourke, it's going to be a different type of offense, so hopefully they show something. Gosh, I hope so. If not, we're in big trouble.
Argo Bill writes and he says, Rod, are you attending the game tonight? Negatory there, Governor, and I wish people would stop asking, but I've also let it go. I don't go to Rider games. Do I need to, what's the language that you understand?
Maybe
Hamilton.
Klingon.
Oh, God. Hamilton at Montreal on Sunday. Big game for the teams. I don't know that it'll be a real ratings grabber. I think we all have the Alouettes in that one.
If the Alouettes don't win this, I'll be Oh, yeah. Alouettes is going to win this. I mean, come on. Alexander has just been too good. Yeah. This one's not even going to be close, Rod. What do you call it? It's going to be
I don't know what
motorboating.
Motorboating. A motorboating. You old sailor, you. Those are the picks for Pump Jacks Cathedral. Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet. They have pregame parties for the Rider game tonight. Pre and post after the game. Argo Bill says, sorry. It's not your fault, Argo Bill. I say it on here all the time. But it's confusing for people at times because I went to the home opener, but that's because the BC Lions sent me a ticket. It's a long story that we don't have time for here. Mississauga Ken writes in. He says, side note, my feelings about Theron Fleury post-COVID were totally changed by his appearances on this show. I'm not sure how that relates. I'm just reading it anyways because he's a P1. I think Kev still feels the same way about Theo that he always did, this show or otherwise. Am I right?
Actually, I love the hockey player Theo. The political Theo and I don't see eye to eye. How's that? I love the man.
And that's
I don't love the politics.
Yeah, that's why we don't go down the political road ever on this show. There's enough fights to get in with sports. We don't need to bring up that. Utah Darren writes in. He says, my dad used swear words, and I never misunderstood him. Okay, I feel like there's something going on over there that I'm not aware. What else? Last word. Just a couple of minutes left, Kev. What do you got with you?
I am looking forward to this weekend. I'm disappointed because this game tonight, when I saw the schedule coming up, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be a good game with Edmonton really coming on. I'm looking forward to it for different reasons now. I'm hoping the Riders can make it a game, but it's going to be a fun weekend in sports.
Always is. Where are you on your Blue Jays?
Rod, it's tough to watch. I didn't even try to watch it yesterday. My daughter showed up. She's camping here for 6 days, I think it is. Daughter and granddaughters and son-in-law. And Jake's girlfriend, Jake is working, but we have them here for the whole week. So it's going to be a busy week entertaining and having fun.
Good for you. Retirement must be nice. I look forward to it one day. Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, hey, Rod, 221 hitters in MLB have more home runs than Vladdy. How about that? To be honest, nobody died in that situation when you look at what the Riders are going through, but it's still horrific. Like, I think Vladdy wakes up every morning in a nightmare. Every single morning, I think Vladdy wakes up in a nightmare.
You know what? It brings me back to a point that Scruffy was trying to make, saying that Vladdy's horrible top to bottom. And I'm like, no, I even commented his defense has been the same as last year. He's still at par with what he was last year. What's missing is bats. And that's not just Vladdy. That's the whole upper portion of the lineup is nobody's hitting the damn ball. And then they get frustrated, and you can see it in the field. So many of them are making stupid mistakes. Balls between the legs. It looks like they're playing T-ball up there. I'm screaming at the TV. I'm just like, I can't watch this anymore. It's frustrating to watch. These people are being paid millions and millions of dollars to play a sport that I used to love playing. Yeah, I played softball. It's not the same. But I never, very rare when I let a ball go through my legs. Come on. It's embarrassing to watch.
To be honest, it's pretty wild. And every day, more things sink in as to why I love doing what I'm doing, whether it's on this show or broadcasting these Millers baseball games, because it's a big deal and it's a high level of baseball. Guys feel bad enough, and they're playing for free in this league. Imagine Dalton Varsho last night with an error making millions, or Vladdy. Like, it takes the fun out of all of it for them and for the fans. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just gross. And, we got a lot of things to debate and kick around here today, even after Kevin departs. So you have fun. And, Kev, you're buying those pies from the colony out there. What's your favorite pie that you're buying?
It's funny you say that, because Angela and I talked about this last night. We are taking the whole clan. We're going down into Maple Creek, which is just 20 minutes away from where we are. And we're going to the market. They have a market every Friday, and we're going to get hopefully 2, not 1, but 2 Saskatoon berry pies. They're from the Hutterites, and they are, dude. My mom was a great baker. These pies are freaking amazing.
Oh, I know. That's why I said the colony, y'all. But Kevin will get it. Okay. You're learning. You're now you're seeing a lot about what I'm about. I think you're starting to understand a lot more about me after this.
I get it.
Yeah. Joining the 306. We'll be right back after this.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, by now you're realizing the really big difference. And different days on this show, when it's just me, we stay on point. When the guests come, like Scruffy and Kevin the Medium, we kind of veer off, and that's also fine. But there is still somewhat of a format here, and we're still technically in the warm-up for our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. At the very least, go give them a follow on their social media. Support our sponsors. It's what keeps us on the air. Please and thank you. So for those that showed up late, the Quick Six show topics are these. Point one is week 8 in the CFL because it's the Canadian hour. What the hell else is going on besides the Blue Jays sucking? So it's Edmonton at Saskatchewan tonight. That's the poll question. Who do you think will win? I mean, we're now realizing that Rider fans are their own special brand of people. I mean, hardcore, see guys, sports fans in their own way are different. Rider fans are next level. They think the Riders will win no matter what, despite what the team has been through. And guess what? They might be right. That's why you all got to tune in and watch. We went through all the other games and made our picks. Vancouver Eric, which I haven't heard from him today, which is odd. I'm sure he's listening. Maybe he's just tied up. But he said, when do I go through the game notes? I said, normally the morning of the game. When I was the voice of a team, it was like Monday I would be on the notes, but that's not my role anymore. I see Cody Fajardo is 1-1 all time against the Saskatchewan Roughriders since he left. I don't know. I'm only picking Edmonton to win tonight because of the tragedy the Riders have been dealing with internally. Otherwise I would say that they would win tonight. And it's funny because my friend Sanchu, who is a gastrointernalist, probably don't have that right, but specialist surgeon at the General Hospital, wrote into our Facebook. There's always a fun party going on our Facebook. And he goes, Rod has to pick the Elkamos as a card-carrying president of the Cody Fajardo fan club. No, I picked them to lose in BC, and I was right, but I'm glad that you think that. Just keep hanging on everything I say. That's what keeps us in business. Calgary at Winnipeg. That's probably the closest game of the week. I got Calgary. Everybody else has Winnipeg. Should be a gooder. The Brayley Bowl. Toronto at BC. I'm getting together at my friend Kevy's cooking steaks for us on Saturday. We're going to watch that. It's going to be fun. Then in Hamilton at Montreal Sunday. Not going to lie, probably not going to watch it. What? Flowing. Backup quarterbacks playing, well, at least for Hamilton. I don't know. Doesn't give me a reason to watch. Point 2, WNBA. To be honest, we've covered all the things I wanted to talk about today. We can all go home. Caitlin Clark had 27 points and 11 assists. Kelsey Mitchell added 23, and the Indiana Fever set a franchise record for points in a game with their 123-88 victory over the Connecticut Sun Wednesday night. And to be honest, we all need a challenge. We all need something new in life, or else life becomes very bland. For me, I kind of thought, I'll settle into this WNBA tonight. I'm getting a lot of heat from my friends in the States, friends and media people, sports people, to follow the WNBA some more. So I'm like, okay, I'll flip this on. The Blue Jays are sucking. And I turned it on, and I was immediately disgusted by what I saw. So we've been talking about some of this here on the program today. What did I see? Caitlin Clark getting punched repeatedly, one time after the play, after the whistle. How is this being allowed? How are these opponents not being kicked out of the game? And I probably will spend more time thinking about this than I should. And if these are the biggest problems in my life, that says I got a pretty good life. But I'm like, why am I being pushed to talk more about this league with this going on? This is so wrong. And just so you know, when I can beautifully morph my two careers, the sports broadcasting and the mental health and addiction recovery and just life in general, when something doesn't make sense, it's because it doesn't make sense. It's wrong. What's going on in the WNBA is wrong. The fact that they're allowing opponents to beat up on Caitlin Clark every single night is wrong. I don't know why sponsors are okay with it. I don't know why people are watching it. I don't know why league officials are turning the other way. It's all gross to me. So I'm not sure I'm going to come back. I'm really not sure. But furthermore, when I look at the standings and the league website, it's the Wings and the Lynx and the Liberty. You don't say where the team's name, where they're from. You know, for instance, what I learned years ago is you don't want to name a team after a geographical region because nobody knows where that team is. For years, so it was the Prairie Thunder football team. People didn't know where it was, so they rebranded it the Regina Thunder. I don't know where the Lynx are. We talked about this yesterday. I don't know where the Mystics are. I'm a new fan. Help me out. Throw me a bone. I'm sorry, but in the way, I know that I'm an old dog, but there is a way. I've been around with expansion teams, new leagues. We're getting one off the ground with the roller hockey. I'll guarantee you we're not just going to go by the team names when we launch this roller hockey league in 2 years. I know and those guys are all watching right now. There's some of the people saying I should get into the WNBA, and I'm sitting there going, why? I'm really happy with my NHL coverage and CFL coverage and NFL coverage, which, by the way, Patrick Kane, I should move on. Thank you for the reminder, Rod. Move on. I don't like a lot of what I'm seeing with the WNBA. That makes me a hater. I guess I'm a hater. Which reminds me, text line for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. We'll be live there tomorrow with the old 96er, breaking down not only tonight's Riders Elkimo's game, but talking about his NFL stories. Scott Schultz. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. David writes in from Winnipeg, David number 2. He says, I find that if you don't advocate or openly support certain things today, is that those that do seem to brand you as a hater. I don't put up with it. And I'm actually glad to have got to this point of my life. Real quickly, there was a Black Lives Matter rally at Wascana Park when I was still living in Regina during COVID. I didn't go to it. I had certain people, organizers, come at me and say, you're a racist because you didn't come to our Black Lives Matter. I said, you need to stand the F down now. And then another one was when Art Briles was hired by the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the reviled and exiled coach from the Baylor Bears. Look him up. I had CFL fans going, you didn't jump on the Tiger Cats for hiring him. You support it. You also need to stand the F down now. That's all you got to do, and they run away. David, number 2, goes on to say regarding the game tonight, he says, I think right now the focus should be that 2 young men lost their lives, and many others are in mourning. In today's instant society, people are too quick to judge. Either way this ends up, lives were lost. Please respect that above all. Yes, but you also got to understand, and this is where this show is clearly very different than all the others. I look at this with the Humboldt Broncos tragedy, the biggest tragedy in provincial history, one of the biggest in Canadian history. And as I just read the CBC article where they quoted me on this how the Riders have handled it. And they didn't bring this up, but I said in 2018, I was intimately involved with how this was handled by the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League because I had a business relationship with them. And they brought in a crisis management team. And nobody in retrospect has ever criticized the Humboldt Broncos nor the SJHL for how that was handled. And I was part of that. This I'm not part of with the Rough Riders, so I don't know how they're handling it. And the Riders are being criticized for the way that they've handled it. They're going to be criticized no matter what. But the point of the matter is, when that Humboldt thing went down, I said the show must go on. When I tell you I was blistered by the families of the survivors and victims, you don't want to know. But the fact of the matter is the show did go on. So the point of the matter is you got a football game to play tonight is kind of what I'm saying. So I said what I would do is honor the 2 victims of that horrific crash Saturday night, put their images on the scoreboard, have a moment of silence, and kick off. I'm sorry if that triggers you, enrages you. That's what I would do. And I've been through these crises, so that's kind of the point. And Kevin's realizing this now after having moved to this province. Me and this province have been through a lot of stuff together. And now I'm not really part of it. So I'm sitting back looking at it and just going, I'm glad I'm not part of this. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Because as I said to the CBC people, guarantee the Rough Riders, when they jumped out with their statement on Sunday, they didn't realize or know the details of the crash. So then they had to backtrack. Oops. But had they not said anything and waited, they'd have been criticized for that. So, yeah, you're right. It is an ugly situation all around, and 2 lives were lost. But there is still a football game that needs to be played. Ken in Mississauga writes, he says, will you watch the game tonight with the sound on? Guys, I'm not anti-Rider, just so you know. I have to broadcast a baseball game tonight. And I know you viewers are all my friends. That's why you're here. So I'm not biting you when I say this, but I have a baseball game. I put it in my newsletter. Can you imagine if the umpire had a laptop going beside him, watching? Oh, you can't broadcast a baseball game and watch another game at the same time. You just can't do it. You can't broadcast a football game and watch a hockey game at the same time. I've tried it. I'm not anti-Rider. I don't go to the games because that part of my life is behind me. It's like, do you go to old high school parties? Do you go to grads of your old high school? No, it would be weird. I feel weird going to the games. And if I'm free, I'll watch the games. I'm not free tonight. John in Edmonton says, if it was the NBA and someone got punched, sponsors would be outraged and leave. Thank you, John. I've been waiting 8 years for you to say something that makes sense, and it finally happened today. I'm not even, Joe, I've said the same thing. The NHL's under this immense pressure to get rid of fighting and dirty play, yet I turn on a WNBA game and it's all the all-rage thing, and they're whacking the shit out of the white girl. What the hell? I don't understand. What? That's also the point. Jeff, Rod might yell touchdown when he should yell home run. Right, I can't. I'll have it on, probably, but my focus will be on the baseball game. Vancouver Eric says maybe the WNBA likes the fact that media outlets will talk about it when incidents happen. I don't know, man. It's just gross and distasteful. And when I have a choice, I finally get to flip the script. I get to be that consumer that's offended. That ain't bad. I'll be right back.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Okay. I feel like Leo gets in Lethal Weapon. Remember that, Joe Pesci? Okay. Threw up a disclaimer at hour 1. I'll do it again here as we hit hour 2, but also the first hour in Silver State Sports across Nevada. Today's show could get very spicy. So far, I'm the only one getting worked up, so I apologize. I appreciate those for playing along. Hi, it's the RP show, and I know there's a lot of people go, what is he talking about? You're going to see right away. Coming up, and I have not done this yet. I didn't look up the specific years our guest today played in the National Football League and the Canadian Football League, Jorgen Hughes. Just take my word for it. Former St. Louis Rams long snapper Jorgen Hughes, which seems like 100 years ago that the Rams played in St. Louis. He did not that old, I don't think. He just retired from the Canadian Football League. But my good friend Jorgen Hughes, whom I love him. I might not say it when he's on with me. That might feel weird, but I do love him. Jorgen Hughes will be with us in the guest segment today, brought to you by Prairie Panels, to talk about his career, to talk about an interesting game tonight, beyond interesting, involving his former football team. Tell some stories, and it's good to see Jorgen Hughes, former NFL, CFL long snapper. So that's coming up. I guess let's dive right into it with a quick 6 show topics. I'm moving them around because this is the U.S. hour here on Nevada. So the first point is this. Caitlin Clark had 27 points and 11 assists. Kelsey Mitchell added 23 points. And the Indiana Fever set a franchise record for points in a game with their 123-88 victory over the Connecticut Sun Wednesday night. So Rod's leading with the WNBA. My word. I feel like we could spend a couple of hours just on this. Why was I watching the WNBA? I'll tell you why. Because the Blue Jays are ruby red awful. And let me just say with point 2, I told you I'd be jumping all over the place. Tampa Bay Rays took full advantage of outfielder Dalton Varsho's fielding error, scoring 3 runs in the 6th inning for a 4-2 win over Toronto Wednesday. Jays manager John Schneider had a hard time explaining that play that saw Varsho charged with his 2nd error and only the 7th of his career in center field. Blue Jays were awful. I'm not watching you. Moral of the story, we're getting to it early. Teams, if you don't win, bye. Fans are checking out. We got a lot of options. So the WNBA game was on, the Fever. And I'm like, oh, that's Indiana, right? That's Caitlin Clark. I'm going to watch this. I didn't have it on for 10 seconds. Ball goes out of bounds, whistle blows, bang, she gets punched right in the gut by the opposition. And yes, the referee teed up the opposition from the Connecticut team. Here's the thing. I know the rules well enough in basketball. My kids played basketball, which, by the way, is a whole other story, but that I wanted to get into. I have it here in my notes. But I'm like, the grand point of all of this, because I knew this would maybe get people upset, but as I said, so far I'm the only one that's gotten upset. 10 seconds into my first game of watching the WNBA, and my mostly American friends, but some Canadian media friends are like, you need to get into the WNBA. It's the new thing. It's this. I'm not anti-women's sports. It's just I love my Blue Jays if they're on and I have the chance to watch. I love my NHL. I love my CFL and NFL. I'm good. But I'm like, I got a free moment. I'll turn this on. And they're whacking the hell out of her. And on Silver State Sports, I saw Mariah Janos the other day on this channel in Vegas talking about who's the face of the NBA, and Las Vegas has a team, the Aces. I get all of that. Everybody's talking about it, so I'll watch it. Why are you beating the hell out of the best player? So I put a screenshot of that up on our Facebook. World War III commenced, and I had a former pro ball player and coach. He called me. We're good enough friends. Khalil Carter's his name. I don't mind. He's a great player, great coach, great guy. He thought I was turning it into a racial thing, and I'm like, it's whoa. Homie, don't play that game. I didn't survive 36 years in pro ball or in this business as a racist. That ain't it. I don't see color. What I'm saying is she's the face of the league. Why are they allowing them to beat the crap out of her? Because, as I said to Khalil, in hockey, you touch Wayne Gretzky, you're dead. That's from his teammates. That's from the league office and even everybody on the other team. You don't crap where you eat, as they say. You don't touch Crosby. You don't touch Connor McDavid. You don't touch Patrick Mahomes. You don't touch Tom Brady. Everybody knows that in the sports that I'm familiar with. So why on earth is this being allowed to happen? I've heard the noise around the WNBA that this is a thing, but I saw it for the first time 10 seconds into watching my first game, and I'll be honest with you, I found it very distasteful and off-putting to the point that I'm not sure that I want to watch this again, which took me further down the rabbit hole of Why is this being allowed to happen by the league officials? Why are the sponsors propping this up as the latest and greatest thing when your star player's being abused on the court? Literally physically abused. It makes no... Can somebody make it make sense to me? No, you can't. Recovery hat goes on. When something doesn't make sense, it's because it doesn't make sense. It's because it's wrong. So that's my opening rant on the WNBA, and I don't know if I'm going to watch again. But the one thing with Khalil, because we've known each other 20 years, I'm like, bro, I'm not a racist, dude. Can we just... And he's like, okay. I said, in the sports that I'm used to, this doesn't happen. And he goes, well, it has a culture. And he goes, and I can give you video of the exact same thing happened in Angel Reese. I'm like, okay, I'll give it another chance. But also to say, well, this is the way we do it in women's basketball. That's not right. Abuse in any form isn't right, but just that's the way it's always been done. That doesn't fly. Okay, so WNBA, you lost me very shortly after you had me. That's kind of what we're saying. And then furthermore, when I say that my kids play basketball, we would go down to Las Vegas Showcase, and they were good, our girls. And they played a year up. I want to say they were 12 years old, so they played in the 13-year-old division. And Canadian girls, right? They should mop the floor with us. No, we won. And we played a Vegas team in the Jerry Tarkanian Sports Center, for those that know. Tark was there. And we beat this U.S. team, and they were all a year older than our girls. We beat them, and their coach took them outside in the 105-degree Vegas Fahrenheit heat and had them running laps and running stairs. And our girls were like, I'm used to it. I was like, welcome to America, where you don't lose, especially to Canadians and especially to girls younger than you. Keep running. We'll tell you when you're done. They were still running when we left. The girls got an eye-opener that day. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my TED Talk. I'm not even sure I did have a point. I'm just saying we're all being told to follow this dumb NBA thing, and I didn't like it. I mean, it was entertaining. There's no doubt, because it's not a female sport thing. I don't like golf. I can't get in. I've really tried to get into NASCAR. All these sports that are all the rage in America, not really I've tried. I just can't. Utah, Darren writes in. He says, Caitlin Clark needs to spend an offseason with John Stockton and get a few tips on how to handle this crap. Stockton was 6'1" and 175 pounds, and no one screwed with him for over 20 years in the NBA. Well, and by the way, who was it here? John in Edmonton said, yeah, if this had happened in the NBA, if one of the stars was punched like that, people would be leaving the arena. The sponsors would be up in arms. Why are they not in the WNBA? I don't know. Is it because they're women? I don't get it. Jorgen Hughes coming up next. I mean, in the back of my mind, I know Jorgen's resume. I was there. I don't know. I just don't know the specific years. And speaking of, NFL .3 Arizona Cardinals offensive lineman Isaiah Adams was arrested in Canada recently on 4 weapons charges. The 24-year-old Adams from Ajax, Ontario, was charged with possession of a firearm obtained in a crime, possession of a restricted prohibited firearm, no license while in possession of a loaded firearm, and possessing a prohibited device, according to Durham Regional Police. His agent, Adam Weisberg, said in a statement, Isaiah is completely innocent in this matter. He had no knowledge of any firearm, and he will be fully exonerated. Okay, so here's the other thing. As a guy that's been around the block a time or two, and I've said it on this show before, the cops don't get it wrong. Do you remember, was it last year or 2 years ago, the 2 Rams players that were nailed for drug trafficking, and people tried to say that the cops had the wrong guys? The agent can say whatever he wants. Have you ever remembered the cops issuing a statement? Oh, we got the wrong guy. What the hell were we thinking? The report says that on Friday, police concluded an investigation into a male believed to be in possession of a firearm and involved in drug trafficking. 2 of the other people arrested were charged with possession of fentanyl with intent to distribute. Somewhere, Roger Goodell is saying, can we just get to training camp? Roughly .1 was WNBA. .2 was the Blue Jays losing again. .3 was that in the NFL. .4, I'll mention, for the lack of any other outdoor football being played right now, the Canadian Football League is Week 8, and it kicks off tonight with a very big game here in the football capital of Canada, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'll just say it because we're going to be talking about it a lot with Jorgen Hughes when he comes up next because he's an alumni of the Rough Riders. Our poll question is, who wins tonight, the Edmonton Elks at the Saskatchewan Rough Riders? You would think that would be a normally fair question that we wouldn't even talk about in the U.S. hour of the show, but this is a societal issue whereby a member of the Rough Rider team and a close friend of Jorgen's, if I don't mind, Jorgen can explain that when he comes on, Jaden Dolkey, 5-year veteran of the team, defensive team captain, lost his life in a tragic accident Saturday night in which the occupant of the other vehicle that he crashed into died as well. And we won't go too far down that road. He'll handle that, Jorgen will, for however he wants to when he joins us next. But the fact of the matter is, as a person with a certification here in mental health and trauma, stress, grief management, your brain doesn't work properly in traumatic situations. Certainly not acute ones, which I think that, or cumulative too, but I think that this would classify as acute trauma, and they got to go play a game. And that's the thing. He's an active member of the club losing his life Saturday night. So you got to replace him on the roster. And frankly, I know it feels harsh and callous, but when they say the show must go on, the show must go on. So the big debate that's raging here is a lot of things. It's a lot of things. How are they going to honor the victim in the other car, Bishma, Jaden himself, tributes, moments of silence? What do you do? And then how does it affect the teams? Because the fact of the matter is, it's going to. It's going to. Can we just be honest about it? Can we talk about hard things and not bury our head in the sand? So over 60% of the respondents said they expect not only Saskatchewan to win tonight, a lot of those are Rider fans that would pick them to win no matter what, but also people are saying, hey, they're going to rally together as a team, which they might. And that's why we need to be hanging on the results of this game. By the way, hour 2 of the RP Show brought to you by Suds. Are you stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards. They're available online at our location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Visit sudsregina.com. Point 5 is the National Hockey League. And it was a story that we brought up yesterday. Jason Robertson signing with the Dallas Stars, avoiding salary arbitration, $12 million for 1 year. But that's news from actually 2 days ago, really. Today, breaking news this morning out of Chicago, which is a fun story. The Blackhawks are bringing back Patrick Kane. So have you all thought about this yet? It just came down Thursday morning. Patrick Kane. What did we say the other day? You guys looked it up. He's 38. So if I have this right, and Connor Bedard said he wanted Patrick Kane there. I'm like, have you watched Patrick Kane the last couple of years? He can't even get up and down the ice. It's kind of sad to watch. So here's my read on it. When I saw the figures, I'm like, is this real? $16 million and $8 million a year for Patrick Kane. This isn't 2010. And if I'm not mistaken, I might have the years a little off. Forgive me, I'm old. But I want to say Connor Bedard was 3 years old when Patrick Kane went number 1 overall. If that was 2008, which I think it was. Let's just say Connor Bedard was literally in diapers when Patrick Kane went number 1 overall, and now they're teammates. And then you sit back and go, it's not that out of line that Connor Bedard would want Patrick Kane to play with him. He's got literally nobody else. And, nobody else. Have you seen Chicago play? Of course he's going to want Patrick Kane. At least the guy can put the biscuit in the basket. At least he can set Connor up. My God. I went to a game in Chicago at the United Center a couple years ago. Connor Bedard puts the puck right on Tyler Bertuzzi's. He couldn't have placed it better on a tee for him in the slot. Boom, row 8 is where he put the puck. No wonder Bedard wants him. But why are they signing Patrick Kane for $8 million a year for the next 2 years? That's general manager Kyle Davidson trying to save his ass. Because his own ass. Because when we talked with Lou Gamelin the other day from Michigan Sports, We talked about, I said it. I said, you go to a game in the United Center, one half of the jerseys, which, by the way, everybody's wearing a red jersey, half of them are 98 Bedard jerseys. 20% are Patrick Kane jerseys. And interestingly enough, Jonathan Toews, already this morning, has said he's super jealous of Patrick Kane going back to Chicago because they both won 3 Stanley Cups together there. How do I think this is going to go? About the same as it did for Jonathan Toews in Winnipeg. And I'm not a Debbie Downer. You all know me. You've been watching this long. I'm the most positive guy going. But $8 million a year for a guy that can't even skate the length of the ice? I mean, facetiously saying, but not like he was. That's prime time money, really. They're paying him for the legacy, bringing back a fan fave, and somebody for Bedard to play with. And then it all makes sense to me. Jorgen Hughes joins us next. It's going to be great. NFL, CFL stories with a former St. Louis Ram long snapper. Jorgen, get ready. I want to talk about some of the things that were going on there when you were there. And, of course, some great CFL stories, too, when we return on Silver State Sports, Game Plus streaming, podcast, and WQVZ radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show, airing in a variety of places. Silver State Sports, Nevada, Las Vegas, WQVZ Radio across the U.S. South, Game Plus streaming, podcast. I got it. Okay, Jorgen Hughes, hang on. Bear with me. Jorgen Hughes, born 1989, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, St. Louis Rams, Seattle Seahawks, St. Louis Rams, Kansas City Chiefs, Saskatchewan Roughriders, 11 seasons, 2025 Grey Cup winner. Toodaloo, see you later, I'm out. Do you realize yet how lucky you are? That looks pretty good, Jorgen. That looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely a pinch me moment when I kind of look back at things, and couldn't have ended any better. Obviously, it's a fairy tale ending. It's just incredible, and to be here in your home province, I know like Mesa's message this year has been, move on. Last year was last year, but I have not. I have been still in.
You don't have
from
to.
winning that thing. No, I don't. And I've been enjoying it every single day since like we did that, and it's been awesome.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because I don't know if you saw what I said. I mean, I know your career, but I didn't have it emblazoned on my mind. As I read this, it reminds me of our dear friend Lanny McDonald. 1,111 NHL games, wins a Stanley Cup. In his last game, toodaloo, bye, skates off the ice, never see him again. Like that's in the movies, Jorgen.
Yeah,
so you've realized
yeah, I know. It's definitely how you want to draw it up, and you don't know that it's going to happen. It's hard. I mean, 9-team league, and it's still so hard to get to that game, let alone win it. Obviously, been there 11 years, and we couldn't get there. So, but when Mace came in, I knew things were different, and the guys that we're all of a sudden bringing in the building, the way, just the whole chemistry and the vibes everything changed, and it was just remarkable. I've had so much fun those last couple of years, and I wish I could keep going. And, I guess I could have, but it was time, and I got other stuff pulling me away, and it was just time, but so much fun. They got such a good thing going.
Well, this is going to be fun, and I knew it would be a lot of fun. All the guys want to play forever, and to be honest, I was thinking about you yesterday. I'm like, there's not a lot like Scott Schultz left on his own terms. It's unbelievably rare, which, by the way, I think he regrets it. He didn't walk out on top like you. At least he did have a ring. But I'm looking at Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. I put you in those categories, but they left because of injuries. I think if they were healthy, they wouldn't have walked away. Like, you're healthy, are you not?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be my last year. I had a shoulder surgery this offseason, but I made the decision before that. So it wasn't announced till later on, but I knew after that Grey Cup it was, and my family knew, we all knew. But I wanted to, take a month or so to just make sure, because it's a big decision, obviously. Once you kind of do that, you don't really go back. I mean, you can, I guess. Some guys have done it, but yeah, I'm at peace. I've had a lot of fun. My cup is full. I've always kind of said the game brought me a lot, and it's done so much for me. But yeah, my cup's full. It's been great.
For you to say that, and to be honest, we got 20 minutes. I wish it was longer. Maybe we'll have to do this another time. But I got a lot of friends. You see what I'm doing in Florida? Like, that's a football hotbed, and I know a lot of young long snappers there that are hoping that they could come play in the CFL if it doesn't work out in the NFL. What would you tell them is the key? Because your position as a specialist, you could come back, because it's a specialty. What's the key to being not just a good long snapper, but a great long snapper like you were?
Yeah, it's a good question. You just got to get out there, learn from someone. There's a couple of really good coaches. You got to try and just kind of learn some of those techniques, but it just takes reps. And the fact of the matter is, and still, I remember when I got into it a decade and a half ago, nobody wanted to do it, and it's still kind of like that today. And it's just there's such a great opportunity there. It's almost like a cheat code to play at the highest level. I look back and I got to the NFL, and it's like, I wasn't athletic as some of those guys, but I could snap the ball well. And, few reps in your backyard, in Saskatchewan, you can go places. So you just got to work at it. But the fact is most long snappers, you start off playing something else, a different position. And once you know that isn't going to go anywhere, then you kind of take it up. So if you can just kind of be ahead of that and just practice, it's your ticket. It's your ticket. It's, yeah. And it's still like that. It hasn't really changed. So,
Jorgen, this is groundbreaking, because I'm going to tell you something. I remember 25 years ago at Rider Training Camp, Alex Smith, our special teams coach, walking around in camp going, does anybody long snap? Can anybody long snap? I'm like, bro, this is a pro football camp. We don't have long snappers here. We didn't.
Yeah.
And you're saying we still don't. How are kids not being trained that like right away, right out of the jump?
I don't know. I don't get it. Well, the truth is, like, I don't think many people know what they're talking about. Some people I hear them, what they've been taught by their high school coach, and I'm just like, that could not be further from what you should be doing. Do not listen to any of that. So nobody knows what they're talking about. There's one real good guy. He works out of Wisconsin, special teams U, Kyle Stetler. He's really, really good. He's the guy. He's got like half the NFL, all the NCAA guys. He really understands and kind of breaks it down. He knows what he's talking about. He'd be a great guest on your show, actually. And so he knows what he's doing. So I would recommend seeing him. But like to your point, I remember every NFL training or every pro camp I've been in, including the NFL ones, when Jeff Fisher, I remember him asking, does anybody here know how to long snap?
Same
I'm
thing.
Around, no one's putting their hand up. And I'm like, you could fake your way into getting a job. So it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it hasn't changed.
Wow. Okay. So furthermore, your agent was Gil Scott, right? Was it through all?
Yeah.
And Robbie Fry? Yeah. So you know how close I am with those guys. So I remember in 2013 when you were drafted by Edmonton, we were all sitting there going, we really want him. Jorgen needs to play with us. And you went through the NFL for a significant time. And we all thought it was so, I think you did too, unfair that they never lost your rights. How did it come to be that we got you?
So after I got released from Kansas City, I was like, yeah, I'm good here for a little bit. I want to go play some football. I want to get on a team, get going. But I only wanted to play for the Riders. I mean, I was obviously super thankful that Edmonton drafted me and all that. So then Brendan Taman, the GM at the time, JO agents, obviously they put together a trade, and it was Corey Watson, I think. And I think that was it. And yeah, traded, made the trade happen. And I was super happy. It was pretty cool. So.
Yeah, well, now I remember
Corey.
Corey Watt, Eastern Michigan. I remember him. He's a good player. But he didn't
Great
have the
player.
career that. Yeah, he didn't have the career that you had. So they didn't release your rights. Do you know if that's still a rule? Like in the CFL, I never liked it. It's like if they draft you, they have you forever. You could go play in the NFL for 20 years. When you come back, you're still the property of that team. Is that still a rule of the CFL team?
I believe so, but I'm not exactly the right guy to ask for that.
I thought they might have changed it because of you. Everything happens for a reason, as you figured out, right? So now the thing is, you and I always cross paths. I mean, you came to my Arizona party. Remember, I had you on the air there in Phoenix. We're doing the thing. It was so much fun. Yep. And you had so many fun NFL stories. When you think of your time, and I said significant time in those places, Rams, Seahawks, Chiefs, what are the memories you have in the NFL?
Well, I remember it being a tough learning curve because I was coming from CIS at the time to now the NFL. Talk about a step up, and I'm having to move backwards after you snap instead of running forward. So there was a lot of on the field stuff that was different, even though, the position, there's not a whole lot that changed with snapping and all that. But a lot of cool memories. Like I just learned so much in so little time. Coach Fossil, built a really good connection with him. Every now and then we still text each other. Learned so much from those guys. And then they brought me back to camp the following year, and just made a lot of really good connections in St. Louis that I still talk to a bunch of those guys now. So just learned a lot. I mean, that was my introduction to pro football, and I wouldn't rather do it anywhere else with those group of guys. Like we just had a lot of fun and just learned so much. And Fossil, in my opinion, is the best special teams coordinator in the NFL. I think, Dave Tobe is up there in Kansas City, but Fossil's just so innovative, so creative. Everything's so genuine with him. So just such a good intro to pro football. And I'm just like so thankful that I got to be part of that for, the time I was.
Yeah. And I'll talk about those other cities too in a moment. But as far as St. Louis goes, like, the city, I love the city. People tell me that it's boring. I think it's super cool. It was one of the first major U.S. cities I was ever at. But when the Rams left, and you said you're still in touch with people there, like they've turned their back on the NFL in that town. From what I understand, they're so hurt, which I don't blame them. What are your memories of the city and the Rams leaving?
Yeah, I wasn't around there when we left. So I was there 13 and 14. But the rumors were, you always heard these whispers around the building, what was going on. Stan bought this land in LA that, you kind of saw the writing on the wall. They got Jeff Fisher there, who's moved a team before. you kind of saw the writing on the wall. So I was not shocked when it got announced after I was gone that they were moving. And I remember those conversations happening in the building. But the city was fine. We didn't get out too much. We spent some time in St. Charles area, a lot of good restaurants, bars, stuff like that. Went out a few nights. But I had the city was great. Good food, obviously. I like barbecue.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You like your
good.
food? Yeah. I think they call it the gateway to the Midwest. I love St. Louis. Everybody dumps on it all the time. But then Seattle was where you were with your boy John Ryan for a bit, were you not? Talk about your time with the Seahawks.
Yeah, it was kind of short. I was there for the OTAs, the off-season, or the organized team activity portion of the off-season, and some D linemen came available, and they had to make a roster move, so they got rid of me, and which was fine. Went back to St. Louis after that, but had some good time with John. We hung out lots, went to a couple ball games. Learned the way they do things there. It was cool. Pete Carroll was cool. He nicknamed me Snaps while I was there. So a lot of energy in that building at the time. I mean, they had the Legion of Boom and all those good players, and they went to the Super Bowl that year. Just came off the Super Bowl win. They just won the Super Bowl, and then they signed me after that. So cool vibes, good experience being in that building too, and kind of seeing how they run things.
When I said you were in Arizona, you were going shooting that day. I don't know if you remember or not. As soon as we were done the interview, you were going out into the desert to shoot guns. Were you there?
Yeah.
You were training with John. That's why you were there, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I was doing some rehabbing. So I had wrist surgery in New York. I had a pretty significant wrist injury in 2016. And then I had surgery in New York. And then there's a really good hand wrist specialist that works in Phoenix. So I went and worked with him for like 2.5 months. I was down there at the time. And then I think you had Naaman Roosevelt come on too. So we were hanging out with you then. And then we went on the ice, and one of my good buddies, Luke Shen, was playing with the Coyotes at that time. So, that was a fun night. And then, went shooting with some buddies that I trained with at Exos. So it was a fun, awesome 2.5 months. Like, I had a blast down there.
Such a great place. And those Ryderville parties were so much fun there too. So with your NFL resume, and I'll get to some CFL stories here, but is there an NFL team today that you follow more and say that that's who you cheer for? Like the Rams would be a good team to cheer for if that is your team. Who's your NFL team? Do you have one?
It's hard to say. I don't really have a team since I played. Like, I grew up a Colts fan, but once you get there, it's kind of like, well, I don't have a favorite team anymore. So then you just start cheering for players that and like time's gone on. Like I don't, there's only a couple players, a handful that played when I was there and that I know. So it's getting thinner, but I just cheer for like guys. And then some of the GMs are still there, like with the Rams, Les Snead, the Seattle, GM Snyder, he's still there. So, I want to see those teams do well. Obviously they're in the same division. So, but, and Fossil, I'm always rooting for wherever Coach Bones is at. I'm always rooting for him.
Now, where is he?
I believe Nashville right now.
Okay, with the Tennessee Titans. Gotcha. Oh, I get it, because I guess the fans will never really. I get exactly what Jorgen's saying. Like, I am a CFL fan because I love the whole league, but I will say this. You were around when I left. It wasn't easy, but I'm looking at you and Mace and Mark Mueller and Mitch Picton and I'm like Brett Lather. I'm like, these are the best guys. I couldn't be more happy for you guys. So talk about that. It was 11 full seasons with the Riders. I don't know where the COVID thing sits in. How many seasons do you say it is with the Riders?
Well, it's 10 seasons, but 11 years because of COVID. So it should have been 11 seasons, but we got one took from us. So 10.
Yeah, well, and by the way, with Charleston Hughes on the other day, my God, do you think he'd have caught the CFL sack record if he's 21 sacks behind, and COVID just killed him? He's going to take that one to the grave. Yeah,
he's playing so well too. It would have been close. It would have been close. He's such a beauty. I love Chuck. I mean, that guy. You never left talking with Chuck without a smile on your face ever. Like, it was just. I remember sitting with him after an exit meeting one year, and we just, sat there having a beer and just, laughing and, chalking it up. And he's just a great human being.
Yes, he is. He was telling me, I asked him about what had gone on with one of our former coaches in Cleveland. I think you know who I'm talking about. And Chucky goes, well, after the incident, he had to go. He left. And I'm like, I never heard of an incident. And Chucky's like,
Give you that look.
You know how Jackie would give you that look? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, the ups and downs in your time, I got to think that you'd be cheering for Cody Fajardo.
Yeah, I'm a big Cody fan. I mean, I mean, I wasn't on the offense or anything. So, but good person, good guy. I know things didn't go the way he wanted to, and we all wanted to when he was here, but like, he's a great player. He's a great person, and he always tried his hardest. And I'll live with that. Like, he went out there, and that guy would limp into the locker room from giving it his all. So I always appreciated everything he did. I just think, there was a lot of things going on those couple of years that, like, it just wasn't going to work out. The stars weren't aligning for us. I think, people want to blame him or they want to blame this. It was a multitude of things that weren't working in our favor, and it's very unfair to put it on him.
Great things is both have won champion. He's won, you guys won. It's all good. And speaking of this, I mean, we only have a couple minutes left, but I know that you were taking the news of Jayden Dahlke very hard. How's your week been? You're getting some help through that?
It's been a tough week. Jayden was the personal protector on our punt team. So obviously me and him were really close. We talked every day, communicated even on the field lots. He was my guy back there. We blocked the same guy. So we had to be on the same page. Corey called me at 8-something in the morning on Sunday, and I just about fell over. It was hard news. I feel for anybody that knew him. And it's hard to get through. These guys are having to go out. They can't take time off to grieve. They got to go and they got to perform. That's the thing about professional athletes. These things happen, and it's tragic, and nobody cares. You gotta go and perform and play. And I feel for them. It's going to be a heavy week. It's going to be a heavy night tonight. But they're going to be playing for a lot more tonight, and they're going to be playing for 38. And it's just been tough.
We wish them all well, and you too. I mean, those are those of us that are used to dealing with this, so to reach out if you need it, Jorgen. And to end this, what are you doing now? The mortgage thing? Is that what you're up to?
Yeah.
What's keeping you busy?
Yes. So I got licensed about 8 years ago, and just kind of slowly grew it organically as I played, and just got to the point where it helped. It was a big factor in the retirement decision, and it's been keeping me really busy. I enjoy, helping Rider Nation out in a different way. Purchases, refinances, renewals, all that kind of stuff. So it's been great. It's been awesome to step into something that's busy, so I'm not standing there wondering, what I'm going to do next, kind of thing.
Well, if you hopefully we can do this again, maybe bring you back and analyze some NFL stuff or CFL too, because you're going to be following it all. But remember, we have less than a minute here. Remember you had that souped up car you refurbished and then it got stolen? Did you ever find that thing?
No, the souped up car, the 68 Charger, I sold it. So I took it down south to sell it at an auction in Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah. So wasn't that stolen? What would you have stolen? You have a car stolen?
Oh no, that was like a bunch of my
Tools.
First year we did some off-season stuff. It was Bobcat and trailer and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
it
wasn't the
not
Charger.
the car.
Not the car. No.
Woo. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The tools are replaceable and not your souped up Charger. All right. Well,
Yeah.
Jorgen, thank you so much for this, my man. I appreciate you so much. I'm glad it's going well, and glad we were finally able to do. I said we would get you on. You knew that I'm a man of my word. We'd get you on, and this was a lot of fun.
You are, Roddy. I appreciate it as always. And let's do it again soon. Good to catch up.
Appreciate it. NFL, CFL alum, and just hang on with me before you take off. Jorgen Hughes joining us from Saskatchewan. Grey Cup champion, and you can follow him on social media doing mortgages now. We'll be coming back in a moment with a sports update and viewer takeover. 902-518-3033 is the text line to reach us. Brought to you by Western Dodge. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. There we go. Thank you, Jorgen. We'll be back in a moment. Silver State Sports Game Plus streaming podcast and WQVZ.
Ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band, performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at SaskTix.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'll get to a sports update in a moment, but when you have a big guest like that, and wasn't he great? Wayne in Victoria writes in on the Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033. He says, it was great seeing Jorgen Hoos on the RP show. He's obviously a good dude and a great football player. My friends are good dudes. Write it down. And been friends with Jorgen for a long time. We've actually been talking about doing that interview for a long time. And now he's actually finally got the time. Jason and Red Deer. You're right. You beat me to it, Jeff the Stamps fan. Jason in Red Deer writes, and he says, why do the CFL guys always become mortgage brokers or real estate agents? And Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and says, or financial advisors. I was going to say exactly that. Mike Abu-Meshra, Chris Getzlaff. I don't know. I will say this. I'm good with my own money. Probably not good with everybody else's money. But I look at those guys that are the financial planners. I'm like, you guys, you got to, you don't seem to ever work. You're always going for coffee, and you seem zero stress. Maybe if I had to do it all over again, I'd be a financial planner. But a good friend of mine, Evan Mark Wirt, former Boston Bruin and Calgary Flame, I said to him once, I said, what's the secret to growing wealth, Nevin? He goes, not spending it. Hence why I'm so cheap. Hey, the interview was going so well. I thought if it dragged at all, which it never does, but if it had, I was going to ask Jorgen his thoughts on the WNBA. God knows he can do everything else: refurbish cars, fix houses, do mortgages, snap a football. Maybe he'd be into the WNBA. But as we've been talking about, and I'm going to read it in the sports update here, I'm just not understanding the Caitlin Clark situation, why they're allowed to beat her up. It's very off-putting for me as a new WNBA fan. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes, and he says, race should not affect how a situation is judged. That being said, if the shoe was on the other foot and Caitlin Clark had punched Angel Reese in the face, every civil rights leader would be on CNN demanding an inquiry. 100% agree with you. All lives matter. I didn't say that. You're saying that. But I was saying earlier that I was admonished by the organizers of the Black Lives Matter rally, which was during COVID here, that I didn't go to the... I'm not racist because I didn't go to your walk. My God, back off. But they do. And it wasn't just that. I mean, the Art Briles thing came up too. It's just weird. But again, as I found, these people get up in your face. Stand up for yourself. They tend to run away. Speaking of, sports update. The Boston Red Sox tied their franchise record with their 15th consecutive win in the first leg of Wednesday's doubleheader against the Orioles, but then saw their streak finally end with a loss in the nightcap. 15 in a row was MLB's longest streak since 2021. In the aforementioned game, which I've been talking about far more today than I'd planned, the Indiana Fever torched the Nets again Wednesday night in a record-breaking performance, representative of the highest-scoring campaign in WNBA history. Indiana closed out the first half with a bang, breaking their franchise scoring record in a 123-88 win over the Sun for their third straight victory heading into the All-Star break. Meanwhile, Nafisa Collier made her season debut for the Lynx on Wednesday after missing the first 27 games, recovering from off-season ankle surgery. The 5-time All-Star didn't miss a beat, dropping 24-10 as first-place Minnesota won its 7th straight game. Why am I reading this? Because you never have, Rod. People are telling me to get into the WNBA, and trust me, I get it. I'm actually sitting here going, why do we not have a WNBA team in Florida? We need to get one. I threw that out on social media last night, and nobody bit. But first game I tuned in for a significant amount of time planning to watch was Caitlin Clark getting beat up. I'm like, how that? Didn't like it. Victor Wembanyama will grace the cover of the upcoming NBA 2K27 video game coming out in early September. And Major League Soccer is investigating tampering claims against Inter Miami after they signed Brazilian superstar Casemiro. Speaking of Inter, please watch this disastrous own goal as they allowed on Wednesday before coming back to beat Chicago. Well, we can't do that. I don't have the rights to air that on this particular program. Oh, by the way, Wayne, that same Wayne writes, and he says, you can't cover all sports, Rod. I enjoy your show for many reasons, but it's because you have your main sports, NHL, NFL, and CFL, but you touch on most of the main sports. I got my eye on everything. Trust me, I'm like that schoolroom teacher. I got my eye on everybody, but there's just certain ones that I need to keep my eye on more. We'll be coming right back. Get all of your questions in, your last ones, because there's only one segment left. 902-518-3033. And the YouTube chat will be right back on the RP Show.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is time for overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Hockey's never too far from our hearts and our minds, right? And doesn't have to be every single day at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where they're making the next great champions. Whether you're coming down just to have some fun or get specialized shooting training, they can handle it all. Connor Bedard fired 1,000 pucks a day growing up in his backyard. His neighbors didn't even mind. You can do it for $20 an hour over at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street, Northeast, Calgary. Can't wait to see them next month. And speaking of hockey not being too far from our hearts and minds, I was guessing that it was 2008 that Patrick Kane went number 1 overall. Thank you, Jeff, the Stamps fan, for saying 2007 is when he went number 1. Why are we talking about Patrick Kane? Because he signed a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Chicago Blackhawks today. And, yeah, so the viewers writing in, Utah Darren says, I did see Chicago play last year. I think they swept my Mammoth. Ugh. Scott in Vancouver says there's a lot of unsigned younger players the Blackhawks could take a flyer on. Kane is too old. I said it. I'll say it forever. This is the general manager, Kyle Davidson, saving his ass. I'm sorry. It's just bringing back a fan favorite, overpaying. Of course, Bedard wants to play with him. He's got nobody else literally to play with. Jason also says, so Kane's base salary is $1 million per year for the next 2 years. The rest is $8 million in signing bonus this season, $6 million next. Yeah, but it still all goes to the cap. So at this point, he's not looking how to pay his bills. Let's put it that way. How they rearrange it, it all goes to the cap, $8 million per season. It's a PR move more than anything. Viewer Darren says St. Louis has the worst luck with NFL teams. Lost both the Cardinals and the Rams. That's a wounded fan base there. Like San Diego is. I've got friends there that just don't follow the NFL anymore. But the interesting thing, you're only hurting you. You're only hurting you. I'm sure you all saw the report yesterday that the NFL had more revenue last season than the NHL, NBA, and MLB combined. My God, you should be sitting there saying, how are they doing that? The other leagues should be doing that. Because I'll be honest with you, I feel like the other commissioners are visible enough But put it this way. For those that are watching that are CFL fans, you see I got my Players Association shirt on today. One of the ways is being accessible and visible. Like last year when the NFL was playing in Brazil for the first time, it was in the fall, I was back in Florida. I turned on the television, I saw Roger Goodell on 3 channels the morning of the game. I don't think Jeff the Stamps fan will agree with this, and that's totally fine. He agrees with very little of what I say. When's the last time we saw the commissioner of the CFL publicly anywhere? We're in week 8. I don't think we've seen him all season. So it is, that's just the way they want to do things. But Jason says the Raiders have officially signed Fernando Mendoza. The good thing about the NFL, well, there's a lot of good things about the NFL, but those entry-level contracts are pretty standard. It would be news if they didn't sign Fernando Mendoza. But yes, it's a very good day for the Las Vegas Raiders. Carlos in Indiana says, bring on Football Friday. Great show, everyone. It was a great show. And wasn't it interesting, by the way? Wasn't it interesting, by the way, for Jorgen to say that he originally grew up as a Colts fan? Carlos in Indiana, did your ears perk up with that? I know that some people get it, but a lot of people won't get it. You know, I said, who's your team now? Doesn't really have one. There is a price you pay when you do work in sports or media or sports media or whatever. And one of them is you do lose your fandom. You'll lose it. And that's something we realized a long time ago. The older I get, it gets very hazy to remember the days that I was just a fan. And that's why I cling to my Cowboys fandom, my Blue Jays fandom, because I've never worked in those leagues, and I don't want to lose those fan allegiances, because with the leagues that I have worked in, like, I'm not a fan of the teams, and that kind of sucks sometimes. With the revenue, Ken in Mississauga says, how do they do that with so few games? That's incredible. See, in a few ways, that's a business class is what you're asking right there, but they're not just making it on the games. But a really big part of that is expanding the global market and going to play in England and Germany and Brazil and Ireland and all these places. Australia now has a game this year. They've made it a worldwide league. The other teams do it. Other leagues do it, but not to the degree of the NHL. And it's not just the games. Merchandising is so massive. I mean, do me a favor, when you're out and about, and I know a lot of you do, just look around and see what people are wearing. Whether it's in Canada or the U.S., are they wearing CFL stuff? Are they wearing NHL stuff? Are they wearing NFL? Merchandise is so big. The TV rights, it's hardly at all about ticket revenue anymore. And that's a topic for another time. It's a really good question by you. Tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun because Scott Schultz, the old 96er, will be with us. I love these guys that can talk NFL and CFL. Works great. He's got stories from his time with the Pittsburgh Steelers, stories with his time with the San Diego Chargers, the number 1 overall pick in the 2001 NHL draft, CFL draft. Scott Schultz will be with us tomorrow. And by the way, the reason we brought up Patrick Kane's draft year was, so thank you for the correction, Connor Bedard was 2 years old when Patrick Kane went number 1 overall to the Chicago Blackhawks. 2 years old, and now they're teammates. And they think this is a good idea, giving him $8 million a year. I'll be spending the rest of the day trying to figure this out, and the WNBA. And that's actually a good thing, because that's how big my problems are. Kirk in Toronto writes, and he says, Oakland's lost everything. Hockey, baseball, basketball, football. Yeah, see, now we're getting into why that happened, and then the garden path of the political reasons why. And Vegas is just sitting there going, come on down. I love it. I love that way of thinking. We'll see you tomorrow from Western Dodge, everybody. Thanks to producer Corey, Jorgen Hughes, and Kevin the Medium. Thanks for watching the RP Show.
That